What up, guys? It's your boy APT Songs here, back with another album review and reaction. So today, Drake has dropped his new album. I think it's called For All the Dogs. I gotta be honest, guys. I never know whether or not to be excited about Drake, because you have him sometimes dropping great stuff like last year's Her Lost album with 21 Savage. And then sometimes you have him dropping stuff like Honestly Nevermind, which was a complete trash heap of an album. And so because he flip-flops between having really great albums and having just kind of albums, I'm never sure if I'm on board or not until I've heard the album. So to be fair to Drake, I have not heard it yet. So I'm driving down to my favorite place, Sweet Jill's, to get some cinnamon rolls while I listen to Drake's album, and hopefully I'll be able to enjoy it. So let's go ahead and take a listen to Drake's new album. So the first song is called Virginia Beach, and it has that dreamy type landscape that Drake typically raps over in his songs. And it sounds like he's rapping about some woman that he's, typical Drake stuff like, oh, girl, you thought you needed me, now you don't, and then you treat me all bad and blah, blah, blah. Typical Drake stuff. It's fine. Like the opening, it's a fine song. It's slow and somber like Drake typically does. It already sounds like he's going to be rapping over the standard beats he normally does, though, which doesn't necessarily excite me, because I really wish after all this time Drake would get a different producer and rap over. All his guest appearances are on these relatively fast tracks or tracks that sound different, and then he gets to his albums and it's like the same sound. So I'm hoping this is what we get throughout the entire album, but I have no hopes for that so far. So next up we have the song Amen. And hey, I gotta be honest, I did not ever expect Drake to rap on a track that sounds like a gospel track. The guy singing on the chorus, Something Touchdown, he sounds almost like Ty Dolla $ign. But yeah, it's only one verse long, but Drake's rapping about, it's only one verse long, but I thought it was really poignant. Drake talking about being with this girl and how he's praying that things work out, and that, she's hoping that he's the only guy, and he's hoping that she's not messing with anybody else, and just talking about he hopes that she finds a man at some point that treats her good and treats her great. There's no cursing on the song, so I'm glad they didn't get too sacrilegious with it while trying to call the song Amen and talking about God and then trying to curse and stuff. So it was interesting. It was I like different Drake, because Drake's always rapping on these beats by 40 that just sound so dreary and dreamy at the same time. It's like I'm not used to having him step out of his style. So the fact that he did for that song, I'm like, amen, thank you. So next we have the song Calling For You. Honestly, Drake's verse in this was forgettable. I don't remember what the heck he said. And then after his verse, there's this long period of time where it's just instrumental, followed by a sound of this chick complaining about the fact that she had to ride coach instead of first class on Drake's plane, and that she had to keep eating jerk chicken and oxtail, and why couldn't they make other stuff. So it was really weird. And then the beat switches up, and 21 Savage is guest appearing, and his verse was straight fire. He had punchline after punchline, a lot of punchlines about doing a woman and leaving his kids in her mouth, and how she doesn't believe in abortion and all this other stuff. So 21 Savage made the song for me. It had a really good verse, but Drake's part and the beat that he was on was just okay. His verse was just okay, but nothing to write home about. Next up, we got the song Fear of Heights. Not gonna lie, the song started off kind of slow, and then there's that beat switch up where the beat comes in dun, 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 and Drake is just going off. It starts off with him saying about how he's calling this girl anti because she's anti this, anti that, yada, yada, yada. He's not feeling her anymore. And I'm thinking back, didn't Rihanna have an album called Anti? So is he possibly talking about Rihanna? I don't know. And then he's talking about somebody in Virginia who can't hold a candle to him. And I'm thinking, is he going to Pusha T? Because Pusha T's from Virginia, and he's mentioned now this Virginia person ain't all that. So maybe kind of a beef song, but either way, the beat was fire, and Aubrey only has one verse, but Aubrey's going hard, and I like it when Aubrey is on the track, doing what he do. So I'll give props to this track. Then we get to the track Daylight, and that is straight up fire all throughout the track. That beat was banging. Drake does an interesting delivery from the chorus, shot him in daylight, shot him in daylight. I was like, yes, this is bumping. So yeah, Drake got one. Drake's starting to come back a little bit, guys. I thought the lines on here were fresh. I thought that his delivery was excellent. I felt the energy of the track. I really enjoyed this particular song on the album so far. Yo, the track First Person Shooter is crazy. First off, First off, I noticed Drake's doing this thing in like almost every song where the beat switches up at some point. I'm not mad at it. It's starting to become monotonous because I'm noticing it. But that said, this song starts up with Drake spinning some hot fire verses. Got J. Cole on the track. J. Cole's having a banner year for guest appearances because J. Cole is definitely the standout here. Not to take nothing away from Drake, because Drake did a great job, but like J. Cole comes on for a solid like minute and a half and is just killing bar after bar after bar, talking about how him, Drake, and K-Dot are the three goats people looking at, and he's Muhammad Ali, and just like a bunch of great lines. Then the beat switches up, Drake comes back on and just goes hard for another like minute and a half, just killing it. Man, let me tell you, this, woo! I didn't expect so much fire. It's hot in this car, and it ain't just because it's hot in California. It's because those verses they were spitting were fire, straight up. The song IDGAF, which is I don't give a you know what. I don't know, like, it's a new style beat. I give them that. The beat, well, it starts off with this really slow piano instrument. You're thinking like, oh, it's going into a slow groove, and then the beat switches up, and it's like this electronic, like dun, 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 like up-tempo type style hardcore groove, but nobody knows how to rap on it because like the rapper Yeet, whoever that was, they sounded almost like a badder version of Young Thug, like that. I couldn't understand what the heck they were saying. Drake's verse was there, like, I don't know, like, aside from the beat, like, this song has no reason to exist. It's just kind of like there, and it's not really doing anything for me personally that makes me have to hear it again. It just is there. That's all I can really say. So we got the song 7969 Santa, which is a weird title for a thing, but he's talking about some girl that is basically annoying him. He's got a sample of like, that's that ish I don't like. He has that repeatedly playing during parts of the chorus, and basically talking about the things that this girl's doing that he's not pleased of. It's okay, it's a pretty decent track. And then midway through, the beat switches up and nobody's rapping, somebody's singing for a little bit, and then you hear somebody come on the radio, someone come on the song like, hey, welcome to BARK Radio. We're talking about Drake. We're gonna introduce that new Drake and SZA song. I'm like, oh crap, is that Snoop Dogg talking? Like, Snoop Dogg, he's uncredited on the track, but he's definitely the dude playing the radio guy that's talking about the next song coming up. So I guess that was cool. Song's fine. Like, it's not a standout, but it didn't annoy me. It was okay, I guess. Next up, we got the song Slime You Out, which I had not heard the single yet, so this is my first time hearing it, featuring SZA. And it's okay. Like, the beat is slower than I'd like it to be. Drake singing at the top of it isn't as good as I like it to be. SZA's verse was pretty funny when she starts talking about like how trash this dude's dick was. Drake in his verse was talking about all the trashy girls that he's talking to and how they don't measure up. I thought the last verse of it was pretty funny, where Drake's, talking about how this woman is going January through December, how like January she starts off a new year like, oh, I'm gonna be a new person, and then by midway through the year she's cheating with a married man, and then by the end of the year she's single again. Like, that part was funny. So I guess the way in which they present subject matter was pretty funny and stuff. I wasn't a fan of Drake's singing at the beginning of it, but SZA's verse made up for it, and Drake's verse at the end was pretty enjoyable. Not sure if it means I care for the track, because the beat is just like, a song like that deserves a better beat than what we got, is what I'm saying. So we got another Drake track called Bahama Promises, and this is all about, it's melancholy Drake doing his shtick of, woe is me, the girl that I'm with is not what she seems to be, and boo hoo hoo, cry, cry, cry. If you're a Drake fan, you've heard more than enough of these songs, so if you like those kind of songs from Drake, then you'll probably like this one. For me, I'm just like, dude, for a guy that has a whole lot of money, you got a lot of woman problems. Like, you can't buy your way out of problems. So like, that means that whatever you're doing outside of your money stuff is not keeping these girls around, or you're not picking the right women. Like, dude, you need to get a whole dating coach to help you figure out the ins and outs of like why you can't keep these women happy. Like, you got the money, you can clearly support a chick, you can clearly take care of her, and yet you can't seem to find chicks that won't cheat on you or that aren't porn stars, etc., etc. So I worry, because these kind of tracks, where you make enough of these tracks, I'm like, I'm genuinely worried about the kind of women you're picking. And then that song is followed up by another song called Tried Our Best, which is another song about how he's with a girl that's not treating him right, and they did their best, but lo and behold, it's just not meant to be because she's acting all weird and strange again. Like, dude, man, I get it. You have problems with women. I get it, all right? I don't need to hear this on track after track. And if you're gonna do it, can we at least have some differentials in the beats that you're using? Because to go from one slow melancholy song where you're talking about a girl that you don't like anymore, to another melancholy song where you're talking about a girl that you don't want anymore, to another melancholy song where you're talking about a girl that's not treating you right and you don't want her anymore. Like, it becomes very, very repetitive. Like, I know you're talented. I've heard you on other people's tracks. You know how to make songs about other stuff besides women that aren't doing you right or how they've suddenly switched up. Like, dude, switch up your content. As a reminder, this review is brought to you by Sweet Jill's Bakery in Long Beach, California. So next up, we have the Screw the World interlude, and I don't know what the heck I just listened to. Like, it's supposed to be like that chopped and screwed style that was very popular from Houston back in the day, which is a great homage if only you could understand exactly what it was that the person on the microphone was saying, and if the mix wasn't so bad, if the beat didn't sound so horrible the way that it was put together. Like, nothing about that interlude needs to exist. So we got another song called Drew and Picasso, which, spoiler, is about Drake talking about a woman that he no longer wants to be with because she did him wrong, and is going after another guy who's more of a simp than Drake is. And, you know, at least this one had some, like, clever lines on it. Like, he really gave you an idea of just how mad he was about it and stuff like that. Again, it's the same old Drake song, but at least it was mildly entertaining. I got a few chuckles out of some of the lines, so I'll give it to him on that front. Just, again, same subject matter. So real talk, I'm halfway through Members Only with Party Next Door. I had to stop and get some food. You know, this album so far is, like, pure torture. Like, the songs that I liked on it, I enjoyed, but just, like, I have another, like, 8 or 9 songs to go, and I'm just like, I don't know if I can do it. Like, this album is not fun. What happened to making albums that were fun? Drake knows how to make fun records, and yet he likes to be hella dreary on most of his albums. I don't get it. The album he did with 21 Savage was fantastic. He had some dreary songs here and there on there, but for the most part, he was in relatively up-tempo, upbeat, vibrant party mode, for him anyway, and it was enjoyable. Like, why do we come back with an album that's just droopy, droopy, droopy? You know what this feels like? This feels like, you guys ever watch Charlie Brown, where Lucy is holding the football, and Charlie Brown's like, he wants to kick the ball, and Lucy's like, oh yeah, I'll hold it down, you kick it. And the first time he does it, Lucy pulls the ball, falls up in the air, falls down, right? Every other time after that, Lucy's like, hey, come kick the ball. Charlie Brown's like, no, because I'm going to get hurt because you're going to pull the thing, I'm going to fall on the ground. And every time she assures, oh, no, it'll be different this time. Charlie Brown believes her, runs up to the ball, and falls flat on his face every single time. That's what I feel like as a Drake fan, where it's like, every time it's like, oh, no, this next album's getting back to the old Drake. Oh, this next album's going to be fire. I know you didn't like that last one, or the one before that, or the one before that, but I promise this time I'm going to be spitting that fire that you got. And then as soon as we get the album, it's just like, oh, sorry. Not doing it this time. Sorry, my bad. But thanks for your money. Like, it's just not fair, guys. It just doesn't seem freaking fair. Next up is the song What Would Pluto Do? I gotta be honest, like, it's a very nothing track, but I actually enjoyed it. Like, the beat was tolerable enough for me to continue listening to it, and then he had some quality punchlines on some things. I think at one point he might have been going at either Kanye or possibly Pusha T, because he said he's beefing with older dudes, and those dudes are definitely in their 40s, and he's still 30-something. So those lines were enjoyable. Him talking about he wants to slide this girl's box like a vote, and like he wants to do other things to her, like something like that. It was enjoyable enough for me to say I like that track. Next, we got the song All the Parties. I guess it's fine. It's got Drake doing his little sing-songy, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And in the beginning, honestly, the way he was talking, I couldn't understand what he was saying because it just seemed like all the words were mumbling together. Eventually, I could understand some things, so it doesn't even matter what the song. There's no about. Like, most of these songs aren't about things unless it's about, like, you know, a girl doing him wrong. The other ones are just like stream of conscious stuff that Lil Wayne kind of does, where it's like random things that are mentioned mixed in with some things that sound like they might be going somewhere, but then it goes back into some more random stuff. So, but again, the delivery was enjoyable enough for the most part, and it was overall fine. I'm not biggest fan of Drake picking out beats, because most of his beats end up being like dreary-like and melancholy and somber, and it's like, I don't need that for a whole album. It's fine in parts. It worked for this song, so it's fine. Next, we got 8 a.m. in Charlotte, which is another song in his Name a City and Name a Time series. And the beat on this one was admittedly slower than I'd like it to be, because, you know, he's done other versions of this time and city thing where the beat's been a lot faster. This one's kind of slow and melancholy because that's the album apparently. But the punchlines And the lyrics on this thing, still stellar. He has not missed in this series yet. And this is one of the songs I was actually looking forward to when I saw the title, like, oh shoot, he's doing another Time and City song. It's gonna be killer. And he did not disappoint. So this one, all thumbs up, except for the beat could have been a little faster. But like overall, this particular song, fantastic. So then we got BBL Love, which is another sing-songy rap Drake song where he's singing his lyrics, even though it's supposed to be a rap. And it's this mellow, smooth, slow little song. Look, that's the album. That's just what we're getting on this album. Not a fan of that. But I will say, in spite of him being sing-songy and using a slow beat, that lyrically this is an entertaining song. He starts off talking about, would you love me? The typical rap trope, like, would you love me if I was a truck driver, if I didn't have all this money, if I was a guy named Greg or Steve or all these other things. And then he goes into talking about how she came to the Drake show with her man looking like she was single, and that she better go home with that dude that paid for the money to go to the show and like love him down correctly, even though he knows that she's thinking about him. Like, it's one of those. So that kind of stuff I like because it's entertaining and it's like clever. It's just, I need better beats, Drake. I do. Please, you've done better beats. I need better beats. So the song gently switches things up a little bit. Like, it starts off kind of slow with Drake rapping in Spanish or sing-songing in Spanish. And then it switches over to this really catchy, vibrant beat that sounds great at first, but then it just stays the same and is monotonous throughout. And so Drake's rapping half in English, half in Spanish, and then Bad Bunny comes on the track and raps mostly in Spanish, and it's fine. Like, I don't think I ever need to hear it again, but like for what it is, like I like the fact that the beat on it was sounding pretty good, but just like, it seemed more so like an interlude than an actual song to me. Like, it was just kind of like, whatever, but the beat was banging, so that's good. Just now we have the beat's great, but the song is just kind of okay. Frustrating. So then we got the song Rich Baby Daddy featuring Sexy Red and SZA. Not as soon as, because it kind of starts off where you're like, it feels like it's going to be another slow Drake song, and then that Miami bounce comes in. It's like, and I was like, oh yeah, oh, this is a song. Now, the feel of the song does not match the feel of the rest of the album, so this is almost like they decided to add it in last minute because they're like, oh, we need some fast songs, I'll put this on. But the song itself, great. Like, Drake came and did a good job. Sexy Red did a good job. SZA, part of the verse I couldn't understand because she was the ways they mixed her vocals in parts was kind of like whatever, but like even her, the way she was flowing on the track, like this is the most I like this track that I've heard on this album, at least for the first 4 minutes. And the last minute and like 20 seconds is it goes into a slow song, the beat changes up, and then he's singing to this girl about how she's better than he's better than her ex, and I taught you how to do this and that, blah, blah, blah. So they really could have cut out the last minute and 10 seconds of this song, and it would have been like the perfect Drake song for this album. Drake's only for one verse, which probably is why it sounds so good, because the other two ladies on the track definitely killed it. But yeah, this is my favorite song of the album so far. Then we have Another Late Night featuring Lil Yachty. It's a beat that's a little bit more vibrant than most of the beats on this album so far, so I like that. I know I keep saying this. I sound as repetitive as Drake now, right? But like, it's fine. Like, Drake's rapping on it, saying some non-consequential stuff. Lil Yachty gets in there and says some more non-consequential stuff. Like, it's fine. It's just people spitting some lyrics that sound good on a beat. There's nothing that's overly memorable. If I never heard the song again, I'd be like, oh, okay. But it's fine as it is, I guess. Then we got the song Away From Home, which should have been called I Remember, because he literally says, I remember, some, I remember. But this is an example of Drake doing a song about subject matter that stays cohesive throughout the entire song. And I like those kind of songs. And most of the song is just him reminiscing about his hard days coming up and trying to get on and trying to get awards and trying to be taken seriously. And I like that. I like the refrain, like, I remember back when I was struggling and trying to do all this stuff and now I'm on. Like, the beat was great for it. It was nice and bouncy and vibrant. And then Drake's staying on task, staying on topic. It's not about all the girls he lost. It's about some other stuff. And this, to me, is another standout track from this seemingly boring album. So definitely play this one on repeat. So finally, we get the last song, the last freaking song, Polar Opposites. He's talking about a girl. She's possibly bipolar. And she's driving him crazy to where it's not going to work out and they got to break up again. Like, you know, standard Drake stuff with him sing-songing the verses. At the same time, the dreary beat goes in the background. So at this point, this is the very last song on the album. What a slow, dreary way to end a slow, dreary album. So here are my overall thoughts. I don't know why Drake thought this was a good idea to put this out. Like the whole summer he's been advertising, I'm getting back to my roots and oh, it's gonna be whatever. And to be fair, I've heard his older stuff where he did have a lot of slower songs and stuff on there. So maybe it's just not my thing. But it seems like this album was way too long. It was overbloated with songs that didn't need to be there. The songs that are there for the most part are repetitive in their subject matter, repetitive in the kind of beats that he's using, and overall just not all that interesting. There are some bright spots on this album where it's like, oh my God, Drake knows how to do different stuff. Holy crap, Drake knows how to rap. Holy cow, he's got guest features that he's able to match, or admittedly the guest features slightly better him on these things, but he's able to surround himself with a cast of characters that seem to make him sound great. But it's just mired in all this extra bull crap that doesn't need to be there because it's not interesting. It's slow, it's repetitive, it's repetitive, it's repetitive. If you get annoyed by me saying repetitive, you're gonna hate this album because there's like 6 or 7 songs in a row back to back about how Drake can't keep a woman. Oh, woe is me. Oh my God, I'm a famous guy and girls still can't treat me right even though I bought them all this stuff. Like, we get it. You've been saying that stuff for 15 years. Can you talk about any other stuff? Clearly, there are a couple songs on this album where it showed that you can in fact do that. And you do it great on guest appearances. Why can't you do that you do it great when you do albums with other people. Why can't you do that on your own albums? Like, Drake hasn't had a solid classic album, in my opinion, since Scorpion. That album was also, in my opinion, like heavily overly bloated with songs, but at least they were good songs. At least they had a concept where like half's gonna be rap, half's gonna be sing-songy, had some good beats, some good guest appearances. Like, I still think that's one of his better albums. But this album felt longer than that album, and it shows, dude. Like, I think Drake has talent. I think that he has the ability to transcend and to make songs that other people can't make, but he shows none of that here. Everything he does here is stuff he's done before and that he's done better, and I just need Drake to get some new producers and to come up with some new drum patterns and some new songs that aren't gonna be just overly dreary track after track after track after track. I've wanted to go to a Drake concert for years. I will not go because I'm like, I don't want to fall asleep. I need to be able to get home safely, and his concert, I'm afraid, is going to put me to sleep. So I spent a drive to go get some cinnamon rolls because I like to drive while I'm listening to these albums, and the whole time I was just like, I just want to get home and stop listening to this album because it is tiring, it is boring, it is lame. I've heard more exciting albums. I've heard Doja Cat's recently and some other people's that I reviewed that I thought were across the board great, even if they were changing up their styles and whatnot. And Drake this album isn't cutting it. So I don't know what dog this is for, but it must be a dog that you want to get put to sleep because this is not keeping anybody awake. I can see the news report tomorrow. Traffic accidents go up in number because they all listen to Drake album and fall asleep. Like, it's just not a great album. So guys, take it from me. I've listened to the album for you, so you don't have to. If you can spare yourself, go back through if you look at my longer review, go back through that. You'll see the song highlights that I actually liked and enjoyed. There's like maybe 4 or 5 songs on this 25 track album that I liked, all right? But for the most part, like, there are better Drake albums. You'd be better to just find a Drake playlist or make your own Drake playlist on Spotify or on Apple Music and listen to that, because this is going to just piss you the freak off. So those are my thoughts. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Did you like the album? Did you not? Leave it down in the comments below. Let me know other albums you want me to listen to. If I haven't heard it or seen it or whatever, then I'll take a look and listen to it. Be sure to subscribe to this channel and like this video or not. Either way, it shows up in the algorithm, so it helps out. Thanks for watching. I'm going to go take a nap now because Drake lulled me to sleep. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace. Do you find yourself pacing back and forth every night, hoping to get some rest? Are you going crazy, tossing and turning all night but getting no sleep? If you've tried sleeping pills or nighttime syrup and still can't catch any Z's, then boy oh boy, do we have the cure for you. It's called a Drake album. Drake albums are made with a combination of slow, melancholy beats and monotone flows. When put together, they create the perfect cure for insomnia. All you have to do is put any of his albums into iTunes, press play.
You say that you think about me every day. And in no time at all, you'll go from this
You see that I've been going
to this.
hoping every
I tried everything I could possible to get to sleep. Sleep aids, melatonin, chamomile, rat poison, heroin, everything possible. And then I popped in a Drake album and out like a light. Thank you, Drake. Thank you, Drake.
Get that good night's sleep you've been waiting for by getting a Drake album today. Side effects include drowsiness. Please do not operate moving vehicles when listening to a Drake album. All the girls in the place trying to get in my space, but I only want you. I only want you. Want to smile in my face and give themselves a taste, but I only